Atomic Age America looked squeaky clean on the surface. Eisenhower smiles, tail-fin Cadillacs, soda shop jukeboxes, but down in the flickering darkness of every theater, directors were slipping nitro into the cultural milkshake. These 1950s shockwaves, crushed by censors, condemned by churches, sometimes yanked right off the screen, still packed dynamite, and you can stream them tonight. Ready to watch school kids riot, priests overdose, and Brigitte Bardot set Europe on fire? Buckle up. The 50s just peeled its white gloves off and showed the brass knuckles underneath. Before Psycho shocked showers, Michael Powell built a camera tripod with a blade hidden inside, aimed it at Britain's moral backbone, and sliced clean through. Audiences expecting quaint noir instead got a serial killer POV, marking victims while filming their dying carer. British critics detonated. Powell's career evaporated overnight. Rank Organization yanked prints after 1 week. The BBC refused to air his name for years. U.S. censors carved a minute of nude flash photography, then dumped it on Grindhouse double bills. Costing $135,000, it barely earned half back. Trivia: the killer is played by Karl Bohm, son of an Austrian conductor. He practiced camera stabs using mannequins backstage at Pinewood. Powell cast himself as a creepy photographer to save money, only to watch tabloids label him sick. Martin Scorsese rescued the film in the 70s, restoring it for New York retrospectives. Critics recrowned it a horror cornerstone alongside Vertigo. Today, the opening credits murder still jolts like fresh footage because you're staring through the killer's lens, making every viewer an accomplice. Powell predicted slasher cinema and got crucified for accuracy. Louis Malle's art house love triangle turned into a U.S. Supreme Court obscenity showdown. Jean Moreau plays a bored bourgeois wife who meets a stranger on a moonlit road and trades pearls for passion in a wordless 6-minute interlude that made censors sweat bullets. Ohio prosecutors seized a Cleveland exhibitor's print. The case escalated to Jacob Ellis versus Ohio, birthing Justice Potter Stewart's legendary "I know it when I see it" line on pornography. The 89-minute film cost a slim $270,000, yet raked in over $1 million stateside once the legal fireworks fueled free publicity. France shrugged. The Legion of Decency screamed, "Condemned." Cinematographer Henri Decaix lit Moreau's nude silhouette through mosquito netting, a shot filmmakers still rip. Trivia: Malle, only 25, stole a vineyard for a location and crashed a borrowed Citroen into a pond. Insurance refused payout, so he sold personal paintings to finish editing. After the court cleared it, Broadway theaters pitched banned Masterpiece, now legal Marquise, and sold champagne in midnight screenings. Every steamy indie romance praised for that kind of courtroom marketing mojo. The lovers earned it by daring to suggest a woman's desire could rewrite the law. Bonjour, bombshell. Brigitte Bardot steps onto Saint-Tropez sand, flips her hair, and the thermometer snaps. French conservatives screamed that Roger Vadim's sun-drenched melodrama glorified promiscuity. Spain and Ireland banned it entirely. U.S. censors trimmed Bardot's nude sunbathe, but Life magazine splashed her bikini shots anyway, triggering every drive-in in America to book the film sight unseen. Made for a lean $300K, it hauled in $9 million stateside. Bardot suddenly outgrossed Grace Kelly and Marilyn Monroe combined. Behind the camera, Vadim and Bardot were newlyweds. Their honeymoon doubled as a production schedule. The infamous drum dance scene, Bardot writhing barefoot in a seaside bar, ran longer than the film reel. Exhibitors scissored random frames to keep projectionists from overheating. French Riviera tourism spiked 50% within a year, prompting local priests to sermonize against unholy beach culture. Meanwhile, Playboy printed frame-by-frame breakdowns, calling Bardot a blonde atom bomb who cracks the moral Maginot Line. Today, the movie plays like a soap opera with tanning oil, but its shockwaves reshaped global censorship. After Bardot, soft focus skin was box office rocket fuel, and the bikini became an export more powerful than champagne. Frank Sinatra? Junkie? Otto Preminger again defied the seal, this time tackling heroin addiction head-on. No euphemisms. Kansas banned it. Hollywood's Breen office threatened fines. Theaters were warned of police raids. Preminger called the bluff, self-distributed, and watched Sinatra nab an Oscar nom while housewives fainted at the arm strap close-ups.
Shot for $1 million, it pulled $4 million domestic, proves censorship's days were numbered. Elmer Bernstein's jazz score pulsates like withdrawal tremors, recorded in one take to keep the groove raw. Trivia: Sinatra visited rehab clinics, insisted on real stainless steel hypodermics for authenticity. Crew members slipped fake needles, but he demanded genuine props, painfully dull after multiple takes. Newspapers refused ads showing a syringe silhouette. Preminger swapped in Saul Bass's jagged arm logo, an instant design classic. Within 2 years, the Code loosened its drug portrayal ban, citing the film's serious purpose. Today, the cold sweat detox scene still stings harder than most modern R-rated fare. Whenever a prestige series like Euphoria glamorizes addiction, remember Frankie lit that first neon-lit spoon and censors never got the monkey back in the cage.
Cue Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock erupting over a classroom riot, arguably the moment rock and roll went mainstream and middle America lost its mind. Richard Brooks adapted Evan Hunter's hard-edged novel, dropping Glenn Ford into an inner-city high school where switchblades flash and jazz records shatter. Memphis banded for inciting teenage delinquency. The UK trimmed knife fights and forced cinemas to hire extra security. Producers got hate mail from PTA groups. Yet the film slammed to $10 million domestic, 5 times its budget. Teenagers rushed screenings just to hear the soundtrack's opening bass riff, dancing in aisles until ushers called cops. Fun tidbit, a pre-star Sidney Poitier improvised jive slang so authentic, Brooks had to subtitle one scene for studio suits. When the picture played Berlin, East German officials denounced it as capitalist corruption. West German sales doubled overnight. Even Elvis cited it as proof that rock could conquer Hollywood. Ultimately, the scandal didn't kill the movie, it crowned it. Without Blackboard Jungle, there's no rebel without a cause classroom angst, no dangerous minds, no teachers wielding basketballs like grenades, just an eternal bell signaling trouble. Before cancel culture had a hashtag, Tennessee Williams and Elia Kazan unleashed this sultry Deep South grenade. Carol Baker, 20-ish, sucking her thumb in a crib, while scheming cotton gin rival Eli Wallach circles like a horny hawk. The Catholic Legion of Decency labeled the film condemned, sparking pulpit firestorms. Newspapers refused ads. Entire states threatened boycotts. Kazan countered by inviting bishops to screenings. Their silence became free publicity. Despite, or because of the uproar, Baby Doll snagged 4 Oscar noms and $2 million in ticket sales. Fun trivia: the rickety house set was real, condemned, and swayed so badly the crew nicknamed it the Rocking Cradle. Street photographers snapped Baker posing in that see-through nightie on Times Square billboards. Protesters carried enlarged copies to City Hall. Meanwhile, censors fixated on a single sequence, a tense porch swing seduction shot in one long take, no skin, but enough heavy breathing to fog the lens. Williams later quipped, "I just wrote innocence meeting desire. Everyone else wrote pornography." Modern viewers might shrug, yet the film's heat still rises off the screen like July asphalt, proof that suggestion can scandalize harder than nudity. 10 years after Auschwitz, Elaine Resnais marched survivors back through the barbed wire with a handheld camera and zero euphemism. The 32-minute documentary intercuts serene color footage of empty camps with black and white images of bulldozed bodies. French censors squirmed, Germany protested, Israel felt it wasn't graphic enough, and French officials tried to cut scenes showing Vichy guards. Resnais refused. The Kanjiri nixed its competition slot, fearing diplomatic fallout, yet word spread. University screenings left students speechless. U.S. television wouldn't touch it until the 1980s. Some German broadcasters delayed into the 21st century. The score's haunting, high-pitched strings came from composer Hans Eisler, blacklisted in Hollywood. His music sounds like nerves snapping. Teachers still debate showing the open-car mass grave scene. One principal in Ohio lost his job for screening it unedited in 1964. Budget? Practically none. Resnais used leftover stock and one borrowed Aeroflex. Result? The rawest anti-war essay ever committed to celluloid. Still banned on primetime French TV. Watch it once, sleep will take the night off. And that's the point. Resnais wanted permanent insomnia for anyone tempted to forget. Luchino Visconti draped Italian unification in velvet decadence, then drenched it in adultery and betrayal. Alida Valley's aristocratic countess tumbles into a forbidden affair with Austrian officer Farley Granger while Garibaldi's troops thunder outside. Italian censors flipped. The love scenes were too lush, the politics too pointed. They slashed minutes, swapped Visconti's lush Agfa color for muted Technicolor, and delayed release abroad. U.S. distributors trimmed more to dodge the Ames Code. Irony, because Visconti had already cut an unsimulated brothel montage. Budgeted at $2 million, lavish by Euro standards, Senza barely recouped but cemented a new bar for erotic historical epics. Trivia: Visconti replaced dialogue with Verdi's Il Trovatore overture in the final duel, driving producers nuts. No talking, just crimson opera and dueling pistols. The uncut Italian negative vanished for decades. A 4K restoration premiered at Venice 2010, audiences gasping at colors unseen since '54. Critics call it Gone with the Wind's evil twin, but censors feared its real sin, suggesting patriots and traitors might bet each other between bottle lines. Now it streams pristine, every lace hem fluttering like a rebel flag in slow motion.
Cue the growl of Triumph engines and Marlon Brando slouching like sin in a leather jacket. One throwaway line, "What are you rebelling against?" "What do you got?" terrified half the planet. Britain slapped down a 14-year ban, branding the film a hooligan training manual. Small-town U.S. mayors canceled bookings after local sheriffs warned of teenage copycat cycle gangs. Columbia Pictures tried softening ads, but the damage, or magic, was done. Youth culture had its first nuclear icon. Shot for $1 million on dusty California backlots, it doubled its budget despite theater boycotts and Catholic condemnation. Fun fact, real biker club the Booze Fighters played themselves, booze included. Crew kept an ambulance idling. The censors' big gripe wasn't violence, only one fatality on screen, but Brando's simmering sexual insolence. That half-smirk birthed James Dean, Elvis, and every denim anti-hero from Fonzie to Jack Reacher. The jacket Brando wore now hangs in the Smithsonian. Britain's ban, lifted in 1968 just as mods and rockers stopped turning Brighton into a war zone. So next time your dad complains about motorcycle helmets, remind him the first cinematic biker gang got outlawed for nothing more scandalous than attitude.
Otto Preminger opened his movie with a polite Manhattan skyline and then detonated Hollywood's production code by simply letting adults talk about sex like actual adults. Virgin, mistress, pregnant. 3 words that sent the Catholic Legion of Decency into DEFCON 1. The PCA refused its seal. Major studios advised Preminger to cut the filthy dialogue. He flipped them the moon, released it uncut, and watched Kansas City sheriffs padlock screens while New York lines curled around the block. Theaters waved Banned in Boston banners like war medals. Curiosity sold out every show. Eddie Fisher crooned the theme on radio, spiking sales even higher. When it hit $3.5 million, a smash for a drawing room comedy, the code's chokehold visibly loosened. Suddenly, filmmakers realized you could skip the seal and still cash checks. Irony bonus, the shocking script never shows skin, never drops an F-bomb, and ends with a chaste kiss. Yet those breezy innuendos, 2 naive dates, 1 cynical architect, and a Park Avenue rooftop, blew a 20-year dam sky high. Today, the dialogue sounds quaint, but every PG-13 rom-com that cracks a risque joke owes a thank you card to this moonlit missile.
Rockabilly bombshell Mamie Van Doren and sister Lori Nelson turn a women's prison farm into a corn-fed fever dream. Shot for peanuts by exploitation maestro Howard W. Koch, untamed youth mashed courtroom melodrama, chain gang sweat, and bump-and-grind musical numbers so racy that Southern exhibitors walked out mid-preview. Arkansas banned it, citing sex-laced rock music. Tennessee sheriffs threatened to arrest theater owners on Sunday screenings. The plot? Party girls arrested for hitchhiking, sentenced to cotton-picking servitude, then shimmy in off-duty talent shows. Budget? Only $350,000, yet Cox slipped in color-popping outfits that made the black-and-white prints look censored by default. He even hand-tinted lobby cards to sell the illusion. Columbia Records released Van Doren's single, Go, but radio stations yanked it after PTA letters claimed lyrics encouraged juvenile rebellion. Fun fact, the Cottonfield extras were real migrant workers paid $5 and lunch. Van Doren serenaded them between takes, causing a local preacher to brand the set Harry Belafonte's Temptress Circus. Box office wasn't huge, $800,000, but teen magazines worshipped it. and drive-ins paired it with "I was a teenage werewolf," guaranteeing make-out mayhem. Today, its chain gang jive feels quaint, but the rebellious sparkle still blinds. Blacklisted filmmakers, striking Mexican-American minors, and the FBI. Ingredients for the only U.S. feature ever officially suppressed by Congress. Director Herbert J. Biberman, one of the Hollywood 10, dramatized a real 1951 New Mexico zinc strike that pivoted when miners' wives took the picket lines. Right-wing columnists called it communist propaganda before cameras rolled. Theaters canceled bookings under FBI pressure. The American Legion picketed any that didn't. Leading lady Rosaura Revueltas was deported mid-shoot, forcing Biberman to finish with stand-ins filmed from behind. Ingenious and eerie. Cost $250,000, raised from union donations. Grossed a pitiful $35,000 first run, as only 12 U.S. cinemas dared screen it. Yet critics abroad hailed its feminist twist and documentary realism. In 1965, the Library of Congress quietly added a print. By 1992, the National Film Registry declared it a cultural treasure. Irony thick as mine dust. Trivia: explosions on set were real abandoned shaft charges. Crew wore steel helmets because insurance companies refused coverage. Today, the movie streams on Canopy, free with a library card, and former miners host panel Q&As, reclaiming a story once gagged. When you press play, you're not just watching history, you're unearthing celluloid once quarantined like plutonium.
Henri-Georges Clouzot turned a crumbling French boarding school into a gaslit nightmare that made Hitchcock jealous enough to crank out Psycho. Plot basics: abused wife plus terrified mistress drowned the sadistic headmaster, only for his corpse to vanish and his ghosts to start stalking hallways. French Catholic papers denounced it. UK censors hacked the bathtub murder and banned it for sadistic brutality. US distributors trimmed a minute, slapped on a "please don't reveal the ending" teaser, and rode word of mouth to $1.7 million, massive for a subtitled chiller. Hitchcock reportedly tried buying the rights first and missed by hours. Clouzot shot within 40 days, using water chilled to near freezing so actress Vera Clouzot's teeth would chatter naturally. The twist ending detonated so hard that theaters posted ushers at exits to shush blabbermouths. Stephen King still calls it the finest non-supernatural horror ever made. And about that corpse in the bathtub, the prop team molded a rubber body, left it soaking overnight, and arrived to find algae growing on the eyes. Clouzot filmed it that way. Nearly 70 years later, the final frame's ripple of bubbles still pops like icy champagne, equal parts elegance and dread.